3 years ago, if you had told me that I could become a good public speaker, I would have laughed in your face. I always thought that I was just one of those people that was destined to suck at public speaking, and that those who were good at public speaking and were great at captivating an audience were just somehow born with that ability. Now, it wasn't until I joined my school's debate club and I learned the ins and outs of what it actually means to be a good public speaker that I learned everything that I thought I knew about how to be a good public speaker was completely wrong. And I can guarantee that if you're able to master the tips I'm about to share with you, you will go from a person who is scared to be in front of an audience to a person who loves the process of public speaking and sharing your ideas and information with hundreds and thousands of people. For each of the tips that I'm going to go over, they're going to be encompassing three main things. The first thing is, of course, what you should not be doing when you are public speaking. The second thing is, of course, the alternative, what you should be doing instead of those bad public speaking habits and make yourself seem more charismatic. And third, and arguably the most important part of this video, is actionable steps that I will give after each tip that you can practice after this video to improve your public speaking skills right now. Now, the first mistake that I see people make happens before they even get on stage, and that is thinking about yourself more than you're thinking about your audience. Now, I've got to be blunt with you here. There's something very crucial you need to know about public speaking, and it's that, okay, how do I phrase this? No one cares about you. No one cares about you, and this is actually a really, really good thing. This is because when we are public speaking, we have this notion in our head that, oh shoot, like everyone is going to be watching me, they're going to be nitpicking every single mistake that I make, and that is what's preventing you from going out on stage and really doing your best. What you have to realize is that when people are watching you public speak for them, they're not worried about the little things that you're doing. They are worried about what is in it for themselves. They're watching the information that you are explaining that they can use later on to better their own lives. So instead of getting stuck in your own head and worrying about what people are thinking about you, I want you to realize that when you are on stage, you are providing value to your audience. That is your main goal, and that is why you are the one public speaking and sharing your ideas with them. For the first actionable step that I'm going to be giving you is going to reinforce this idea that no one actually cares about the little things that you do. The next time you're at school or watching someone public speak, look at every single time they pause, every time they say an Now, 1 hour later, I want you to think about what you actually remembered from that presentation. The chances are you probably remembered more about the presentation and the information you were getting from that than actually looking at the person and nitpicking about the little things they did. All of this to say, what you should be thinking about when you're giving speeches is the value you are providing to your audience. So now you've finally gotten into your head that you want to provide value to your audience, and you finally made it onto the stage. Now, the second mistake I see people make is failing to establish their credibility. Basically, what I mean by establishing your credibility is you need to give the audience a reason to care about what you have to say. What makes you so special? Why should your opinion on this topic be something that they have to listen to instead of some random guy across the street? If you can't establish this to your audience, they won't trust you, and therefore they won't care about the things that you're about to say. So the first thing that you want to do when you're starting your presentation is in your introduction, you want to establish some kind of credibility, either by saying how long you've been in the field, how long you've been doing the certain thing that you're talking about, or simply just talking about how much research and time you've put into thinking about this topic. I mean, think about what I did at the very beginning of this video. I told you that I had 3 years of experience, but the most important thing is that I changed my mindset. I went from a person who was afraid to share their ideas to a person who learned to love the process of public speaking, and that I want to share this process with you guys. Establishing your credibility is a really easy way to make sure the audience is invested in what you have to say. Now, the next action I want you to do is to think about what separates you from everyone else. Think about all the little things that make you unique, and think about, how can I use this to leverage my knowledge? And once you are able to write down these thoughts on a piece of paper, you'll start to realize that you actually know a lot more about various topics than you think you do. This just reinforces that you have valuable knowledge there to share. And that's really, really special and a really crucial, important thing to remember when you are public speaking. Okay, so now you've gotten through those two things and you've finally gotten yourself on stage. And for so many people that I've seen public speaking, the first thing they do when they get on stage is activate what I like to call statue mode. And I'm sure you've seen statue mode play out in a lot of presentations that you've personally seen. Kind of lock up, you stop smiling, you like to cross your arms, and all of these things make you out to be really robotic. Because if you are not able to gesture and smile and show that you really want to talk about something that you're presenting, then the audience is not going to care about what you are talking about either. Now, a very key point and thing that you'll see in a lot of very charismatic public speakers is that they will move their body to emphasize their points. And they will also maintain eye contact with the audience and smile. When you are smiling at the audience, it lets them know that they are really cared for and that you are excited to share whatever ideas you have with them. For this actionable step, I want you to stand in front of a mirror and practice moving your arms towards whatever you're talking about. I want you to just talk about whatever garbage you want. Now, this is something that took me forever to master, but I promise you that once you are able to change the inflection of your voice and move your hands to emphasize your points, you will become that much more charismatic. At this point, you should be in the middle of your speech and you should have captivated the audience enough with your tone of voice, with the way that you're moving your body. But all of these are for naught if you do this one bad habit, and that is reading from the slides or reading from a script. Now, I don't think I even have to let you guys know what this looks like. Now, reading from the slides is really bad for a couple of reasons, but for one, it makes your topic sound really, really boring. Because if people can just read whatever information that you're saying from the slides, then there's no reason for you to have to tell them that information. It also shows the audience that you're not very knowledgeable about what you're talking about. If you can't even talk about a topic without constantly looking at your script, then it lets the audience know that you aren't really that confident in what you have to say. Now, what I want you to do instead of reading from the slides is look at each topic on your slide, but then find a way to elaborate on that. That lets them know that you want to show them what you care about, and you want to make sure that they understand the topics that you are talking about in an easy to understand way. For this actionable step, I want you to go online and find like a random word generator. And with that word generator, I want you to generate random topics. So I want you to spend 30 seconds trying to elaborate on that word. Finding ways to elaborate on things that you don't really know a lot about really helps to improve your confidence and also helps you with that improvisation aspect of public speaking. Because the last thing that you want is to come up as a drone, as a robot to your audience that is just reciting off of a script and no one will want to listen to you. Now, the fifth tip that I want to mention happens at the very end of your speech. But the last mistake I see people make is that they fail to provide some kind of call to action to their audience. Basically, this is really bad because they have all this information and they're like, well, what do I do with this? Doing this will keep the information fresh in your audience's mind as they keep thinking about what you said. Because remember, the audience only really cares about themselves and the information that you can provide to them. Now, for this final call to action, I want you to have a conversation with someone. As you're talking to them, I want you to really think about why you are having this conversation. Doing this will help you to think about what your conversations are really about and why your audience should be listening to you and what call to action you can give them to make them keep thinking about what you want to say. So these were my 5 tips to make you become a better public speaker and to go from a person who thinks that they suck at public speaking to a person who learns to love the process. And once you are able to master that, you will become a much better speaker. Now, of course, my call to action to you is now that you've finished watching this video, I want you to go back to each of the topics that I mentioned and try practicing those actionable steps. Doing that will improve your public speaking abilities instantly. But anyways, if you like this video, please let me know in the comments below. And if you can, I would really appreciate if you subscribed because that would also let me know that you want to see more videos like this in the future. But other than that, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.